Hello, guys, and welcome to Wowhead Weekly number 250. That's a nice milestone number. A quarter of 1,000. Today is a special show. We have Shadowlands release date finally out there. The confirmed date, November 23rd, and a lot more to talk about that, as that was actually quite early compared to what we had been guessing in previous shows, as you might know if you were watching them. We also have a bunch of other dates too. We've got BlizzConline, we've got the invasion date, and so much more to talk about. Before we get into anything though, let me first introduce myself. I'm Annie, or also known as Annie Fuchsia, and I'm a full-time streamer on Twitch. My co-host for tonight and every Wowhead Weekly night is the lovely Perculia.
Hey everyone, I'm Perk. I am joined by Brightpaw, who is a very smart cat, and I run Wowhead and oversee all the news and guides and features that you use on the site. And we have a very busy week, lots of news. Apologies for the late start, but there's so much going on. We've got release dates, we have new merchandise, we have the 16th anniversary. We even have a secret Murloc pet. We have a message from President J. Allen Brack. There has been a lot going on, and we will walk you through all of the important things and give our opinions on it. So, and Brightpaw, I think you go down. Yes. I think that was a no. Ow. Ow. That's.
Okay, sorry guys, I was muted.
Oh no.
I was coughing during the part with Perks, so I muted myself. I forgot to unmute myself. So here we are.
You talk as I deal with this Brightpaw situation.
We have a Brightpaw situation, but we also have the Shadowlands release date confirmed for November 23rd. This is a very interesting week, as we have discussed in the past as well, because not only is it very, very close to, or basically the week of Thanksgiving for people in the US, but it also means that the raid will line up and be over the holidays for a lot of people who play World of Warcraft. The exact dates for the raids are out as well, so the Mythic release won't be on the week of holidays, on Christmas exactly, but it is still around that period. So the dates did come as a surprise to a lot of people.
Yes. So Brightpaw has shown what he thinks about the release dates. And he thinks it's very chaotic and distressing. So yeah, I think that November 23rd is very early. Especially because whenever we discussed our predictions, we're like, oh, they have to avoid Thanksgiving week because that's when people are off, and that's when historically, Blizzard is not working.
Mm-hmm. And there's also been that screenshot going around of Blizzard specifically saying that they do try to avoid those kind of special holidays for big events. So it was surprising in many ways. Blizzard must have, I believe, felt that they do not want to delay the raids to the new year, which in turn then kind of forced them to have the release date a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because game director Ian Hazacostas actually replied to that screenshot floating around, and he's like, well, we try, but we can't always avoid the holidays.
Yeah.
And with the November release, then we have to do something a few weeks later. But that has the question of, well, why didn't you just do the expansion mid-December and then do the raid in early January? And we don't know if this is an investors thing, because to me that would be better, because while yes, Europe does not celebrate American Thanksgiving, the workers at Blizzard are for the most part located in the US, so this time frame could mean that they are working basically around Thanksgiving and Christmas, which doesn't seem very, fair or festive for them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, to me, I don't see why they couldn't have done like mid-December Shadowlands release, and then if you do the raid in early January, there's still only like a 3-week gap, and that to me would have felt more natural.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of things from both hardcore people figuring out, productions for Race to World First with Christmas, but also more casual people saying that when you have, like, if everyone's trying to get back together and then you have a holiday break, it can disturb your momentum so early on. And it's just kind of like a weird sort of, like roadblock at the start of the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So
It is very interesting that they decided for
oh no.
everything to be a bit earlier because mythic races and things like that, if you don't even consider that, this also means that people who, raid on a more casual level will end up raiding, at least progressing the first few bosses quite heavily in the first few weeks, meaning exactly on top of holidays time. I'm wondering if maybe Blizzard did take in consideration COVID and decided that maybe it's not that big of a deal to have this coming around those times, since people shouldn't really be traveling anyways, shouldn't or couldn't travel around those times. Do you think that was a thought at all?
I mean, it's just tricky because the employees, yeah, they might be sitting at home with COVID, but they were still given, time off, and
Mm-hmm.
now it feels like this is going to be more of a crunch, and then it spills over into other things. For example, now the Wowhead team is figuring out working around Thanksgiving, and then it's okay, the people who manage the design on Wowhead or the servers, now they need to be around on the holidays in case something, really critical happens. And it's kind of a ripple effect with the industry having people working to get the product up. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think that there could be marketing value if everyone is stuck at home and not going out for Black Friday, giving them a game they could play. But on the other hand, Thanksgiving is usually when people spend time with their families, even if they don't um, go out. So people might actually be away from their computers a little more on Thanksgiving, even if it's just a Zoom call. Like Thanksgiving in America is when people tend to like watch
Spend time.
football
Yeah.
together and like cook meals and then try to wake up super early on Friday for electronic discounts. Like those are just things you do in that Thanksgiving period that would
Mm-hmm.
take you away from the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I also think that there's been a lot of other games that have been delaying releases, and with the way Cyberpunk got delayed, maybe Blizzard thinks that they have to release in November so they don't compete directly with the hype. Um, and yeah, it's a little awkward that the raid is kind of competing with that other game.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they figured, okay, maybe because they delayed it, now we have to uh be in November, so we're not going, head to head with another big game.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe they also tried to announce this at the very last minute because it was announced right before the earnings call. Um,
So it
so
is possible
maybe
they made the
they,
final decision that day, if they were
yeah.
considering 2 dates.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, the only reason I could think of that they didn't want to compete with mid-December releases,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to have an open window, and November was it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Cyberpunk was meant to be out on the 19th, right? I think.
Uh, yeah, let's see.
Around the 20th. So they definitely took over that time. It is possible, maybe not
He is
very
meant to be
likely.
November 19th.
Yeah, maybe not very likely, but I think there might have been some people who took that week off for Cyberpunk potentially. So now it means that they could take over that time as well for people taking time off, and then Thanksgiving happening. And I feel like 2020 has kind of shown in many ways that games and just things online have been a lot more popular and a lot more used due to no travels and a lot of other kind of lockdowns and restrictions. So yeah, I think it might have I think there might have been some pressure as well with the timings to make sure everything happens before quarter 1 even starts. But it does feel a little bit chaotic because we also, speaking of dates, we also have Classic, which is having a new
Yeah.
phase come out. What was it, like a week after the
Yeah,
Shadowlands
the
release?
the patch with the class and bug updates goes live on December 1st, and then the
Yeah,
raid goes live on December 3rd, so it's not even a week between the classic raid and the retail raid.
yeah. And for people who play both, that's gonna be quite rough, I think.
Well, even people that want to be casual tourists, like if you're like, oh, I
Yeah.
like this invasion in the Shadowlands pre-patch, let me see the original version in classic, let me hop back onto my character. uh you're gonna be splitting your time between Shadowlands and classic. It's like the audience is
Mm-hmm.
cannibalizing from each other.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not super hardcore on either side of things, but I do like to try and get my heroic clear the first week whenever there's a new tier. And I also want to try and, kill as many bosses as possible on classic as well. And for me, with them interfering like that, it's I'm gonna barely have time for them. I normally spend like multiple raid days on my first week for just one of the raids, and now there's two.
Yeah. So I was very surprised by that. I think everyone thought it felt rushed, which leads to speculation that maybe Blizzard wants to announce more classic updates at BlizzCon line, and that's why they wanted to rush things out sooner than later. But
The
to me, it feels too
mhm.
early. I think.
The Nax is coming out. To be exact, the dates. Nax is coming out on the 3rd, and
Hmm.
the raid in Shadowlands will be coming out on the 8th. So you still have some
Yes.
days of Nax before the raid on retail. So I guess the timing will be like you level in Shadowlands, and then you get to max level and touch a few things here and there, and then Nax is out, so you focus on Nax, and then the raid is out on retail, and then you jump back. I guess that would be my plan probably.
Yeah, and there's also the Hearthstone expansion that is WoW themed. It's the old gods in the Darkmoon Fair, which is a topic I always it's like a secret conspiracy theory I always thought was cool. And WoW players like the old gods, so it might try to draw them in. So it's a really busy time if you are into Blizzard games.
Mm-hmm. Which isn't necessarily
uh
a bad thing.
yeah.
It's just surprising that they would put so many things
Yeah.
together because they could
I'm
easily just stagger it
yeah.
out.
Like I'm concerned that when they do their quarter one earnings call, they'll be like, well, so we had a lower than average amount of content and MAUs are down compared to quarter one 2020 because we had no new raid. And like it's like, well, yeah, because you stuck it all in quarter four.
But I mean, they
So
must be
yeah,
thinking about that though, right? So maybe this means that we can
hopefully.
expect more things in quarter one. Like, I'm sure being like rushing
Well,
these
there's that
things.
the virtual event in February.
True.
So yeah.
Yeah. Maybe they were counting all the things they had in quarter four and they're like, oh, it's not enough. Need to add more
Yeah,
things.
no BlizzCon, and
True. No
Shadowlands delayed.
BlizzCon. Yeah.
So,
And Shadowlands
um,
delayed too. That's also true.
I think they also, I mean, marketing wise, I've heard from a lot of people and friends that also sell things as affiliates that a lot of places are gearing up to uh, do their Christmas marketing earlier than usual. Halloween is over, and now everyone is promoting Christmas, even though it's early Thanksgiving, and that the spending has already begun. And it's trending that people do more of their spending before Black Friday as opposed to after. So maybe Blizzard's like, oh yeah, everyone is, quarter four and everyone is at home. Like this is a big, very profitable, high engagement, everyone at home playing video games time. Let's,
Yeah.
throw in everything we can in this time period. Also, like college people, many of them are not in dorms and they have more free time, and maybe Blizzard is trying to recapture some of the younger audience that was playing like they had a younger audience and everyone aged, and then WoW kind of stayed old, so maybe they're hoping to put if
Over
everyone is
Christmas
off on holiday
holidays. Yeah, they're
over
all
yeah
home from school.
yeah
Yeah. Then they'll
or
all
they're
give
ready
it a
home
try.
yeah, so keep them hooked. But yeah, I'm curious about it. I just hope that the people who at the company that are working over the holidays are you know, they have good overtime. They can make up the vacation days, and it's just a healthy work environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we got enough of you older people. It's time to
Yeah.
attract the young ones.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's actually an interesting point because I remember myself when being younger and in school, like, why do we never get new things during Christmas? Like, why is it just repeating things? And the new things comes exactly when school starts. And the same with like
Right.
expansions. It's normally like the expansion is end of August. It's like, I've been home for 2 months waiting, and then you put the expansion now when school is starting again.
Yeah, they
So,
actually, some of the old school ones they used to do, like Wrath and Kata were pretty late, and that actually tied in really well to college breaks.
oh,
Like you
interesting.
could
Yeah.
go, you know, you could go be like, okay, over the holidays I'm gonna go have fun leveling and
Mm-hmm.
you know, grind up. Or like yeah, I think with Wrath it was in November.
Okay.
Um
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, the holidays came around, it's like, oh, I can go catch up on all the achievements and stuff I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do, you know, now that like the first raid tier is on farm. And then Cataclysm was early December, so it's like, okay, you know, start of the
Mm-hmm.
winter break, I'm gonna do my marathon leveling and, you know, get all my dungeons without needing to worry about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
finals and stuff like that.
Yes.
But
Yes, I
yeah.
guess there has been a few over Christmas times then. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a win for all of the young people in school still. It's like, oh, I have so much time and no work to do. Because I know that for a lot of young people also, self discipline or just discipline in general has been difficult because of having school at
Mm.
home. And not everyone is able to work on their own. So having distractions like games can be bad in those situations. So having clear holidays means that, they don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So speaking of more of the financial angle, we mentioned that this was announced, similar to when the financial results came out. And just looking at this a little closer, they said about Shadowlands that the pre-sales were well ahead of any prior expansion, with franchise engagement at its highest level at this stage, compared to other times, which makes sense. We're all stuck at home playing COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they said that WoW is holding stable, and what that's pretty generic but cool. Um, I thought what was interesting is that they said that they have the largest team ever working on ensuring Shadowlands meets player expectations, and that they want to keep this large team in the future to have more content for the franchise than ever before. And they specifically mentioned more frequent major content for both retail and classic, which sounds like a hint for Burning Crusade development, because what will be coming with classic after Nax.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And they also talked about how they really liked mobile and wanted to expand that to all of their franchises. So we wonder what is you know, on the way for WoW and mobile, since we haven't, you
Mm-hmm.
know, heard anything about that yet.
I'm still really curious about that because I've actually tested some of
Yeah.
these mobile games that are very similar
Mm-hmm.
to World of Warcraft, and they're actually very good to be on mobile and everything. Like they actually look and feel good as you move around in them. And it feels like you could potentially have some parts of World of Warcraft available on mobile. I don't know if it would be worth it for them, but I think it could be really interesting to have to be able to play on the mobile as well as in the game itself. Because right now, I think most mobile games
Yeah.
are only mobile, and then most MMORPGs on the PC are only PC. But imagine if they could do like both, like maybe you can
Yeah.
walk around in the game on mobile. Maybe limit certain things, like you cannot, queue up to PvP maybe, or things like that. But a few of these simpler things, I'm sure that could be done, like walking around in Stormwind on your mobile.
Yeah, the quote that from J. Allen Brack was something to the effect that um, Warcraft is a huge franchise, and the game WoW is only one part of that, and the team is always exploring how to express Warcraft with new experiences, and they see a lot of opportunity for growth in 2020 and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which it sounds unnecessarily vague, but if we look at that, it's like, well, you know, he didn't just say that, you know, World of Warcraft is the only game that can be part of the universe, and that hints that maybe there's plans for future Warcraft content that isn't part of an MMO, and maybe that could be like a book or a comic or a mobile title or a movie. We did learn as part of the earnings call that they were talking about Call of Duty a lot and praising all the mobile development. So, this could be a hint that more stuff would be coming for WoW in the future with mobile. Or that some of this team working on WoW is maybe thinking of ways to expand the universe to that sort of game.
I find it interesting, though, because I just realized, looking at other not WoW mobile games, but looking at other sort of MMORPG-like games on mobile, I could see World of Warcraft potentially becoming one, but it would be, quite a lot of work to get it to work and everything. But having said that, what happened to Diablo Mobile?
Well, that's still sort of no one liked that because
they didn't.
It was the wrong audience. Like it shouldn't have been. It was like the wrong audience. You said you couldn't, play with friends. The joke about phones and the branding of it sounded like they were outsourcing it to the Chinese studio that had a lot of pay to win mobile. So it was a lot of scary things. It could have been presented way differently, or like here's a cool game that you can play as you're walking or on the toilet on your phone, and we know you want Diablo 4, but here's a cool thing in the meantime. It could have just been spun a lot differently.
Have they written it off then, or is it still happening?
No, it's still coming.
Okay.
We actually at China Joy, a big convention in Asia, they highlighted new graphics for it, and we covered it.
Okay.
And it actually was present in this third quarter earnings call in J. Allen Brack talk, and they basically said Diablo Immortal has passed internal company playtesting and will soon enter external regional testing.
Okay.
So regional testing can mean maybe they're just testing it in China because they know their audience in China is more receptive to it, but it's still coming along with testing.
It's mentioned that it was mentioned on the Fireside Chat. Is
yeah,
that where
we will
this
get
was
to
said?
that.
Okay.
Oh no, it was mentioned in both, but I was referring to the earnings call that was done for investors. It showed up in both places.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll jump into the Fireside Chat shortly. Yeah. Was there anything else on the earnings call that could be interesting to mention?
I think just seeing how they really liked Call of Duty for several reasons, and they were also talking about how
Call of Duty also has a mobile app, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, they were saying that the mobile component was made it very successful.
Okay, interesting.
They said that they said the biggest driver of our performance was Call of Duty, which saw expansion across PC, console, and mobile following the launch of free-to-play experiences. And then they also talked about how the Black Ops Cold War trailer revealed to Warzone players was a cool virtual water cooler moment of engagement, and they thought that how that marketing was very going direct to players was more effective than traditional paid media network. So that's interesting if Blizzard is trying new ways to reach players as opposed to sort of over the top, boring, predictable marketing things.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we can talk about the Fireside Chat, which kind of in retrospect was the user-friendly, down-to-earth version of the earnings call.
Yeah. And this just came out an hour ago, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe 2. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point it's 2. I am distracted a second because we just found a Murloc pet that's purple, which we will discuss at the end of the show, but I just got pinged about it.
Oh, yeah, I think someone mentioned that in the chat too, that the secret was just discovered of the purple Murloc.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so I was just pinged, so
Yeah.
that's now in the notes. We will get to that after we discuss all of the
Live
business.
show with live news.
Yes. But yeah, go up on Wowhead. It just was there a minute ago. Get your cute Murloc pet.
Nice.
So yeah, so the Fireside Chat was done with President J. Allen Brack. And to me, it sounded like he was doing this in place of the opening ceremony speech at BlizzCon, which would have been, it's always around this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about what was going on with a lot of games and some of the challenges they faced and some interesting statistics. So, for example, he mentioned the Shadowlands delays and how the team was working hard to improve the game. He talked
Mm-hmm.
about the Diablo Immortal testing. He talked about the Hearthstone Old Gods expansion. And the top bit of news was that the BlizzCon line convention coming in February was going to be free to watch, which was really cool because I think a lot of people were concerned that maybe it would be like the virtual ticket where you have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was really good of them to make it free to watch for everyone, noting that everyone is still stuck at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because I did expect some kind of virtual ticket. Then maybe there will still be one, which would mostly be for the vanity things that you get with it. Maybe I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, maybe there'll be like a premium like celebration bundle, but I still think it's good that you can watch the panels for free.
Yeah.
Uh he
Yeah. No, that's
also
really cool.
talked yeah. Something that I thought which was less flashy but appreciated was that we've discussed over the past that, Blizzard has said that they want to do more with like being inclusive or welcoming, and we're like, okay, you're just saying stuff like, what are some actions that you've done? And he circled back to that, talking about the environment that they are creating and some things they've been doing with their reporting systems, some machine learning behavior to curb toxicity in the game, to cut down on bad language, and how that's cut things down in half across different games. And I thought that was nice to include. It showed that this wasn't just like a buzzword term they wanted to put in an interview and forget about, that they were trying to tackle this widespread problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was good. And then he shared some fun stats as well on some character statistics in WoW, including 10 million barbershop visits since the pre-patch,
Yep.
6.5 million frost protection potions in WoW Classic,
Oh.
9 billion ghosts, and then 100 million characters created in WoW with over 1.5 billion levels earned.
Whoa. Oh yeah. Time for
So,
Nax. Time to stack up on those frost resistances.
yeah, so I mean, I thought it was a good chat. I thought he seemed pretty down to earth. I appreciated how at the start he was saying that he always looked forward to BlizzCon, and that it was special in part because he is socially anxious, but he always looked forward to the event because of how fun and welcoming it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know when you're at the top of an organization, people tend to think that like you're kind of like robotic, or you don't have feelings. So I appreciated that he was trying to talk about his own personal experiences, and yeah, he's a
Yeah, see
person
the human
too,
side of
and
things.
yeah, like a lot of gamers can be socially anxious, and BlizzCon feels welcoming. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he just did this because we didn't have BlizzCon, but I also feel that if they did this after every earnings call, sort of breaking down Blizzard's updates into friendly human sounding speak, it could cut down on a lot of, misinterpretation.
Mm-hmm.
That tends to happen after the earnings call, and everyone suddenly has, an economics degree and has their 2 cents on what Blizzard is actually doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want more input on that, all you do is ask Twitch chat. The
Yes.
biggest experts in here.
Yeah. So that is what's up with the Fireside Chat. Again, this just went up today.
I'll link it in the chat as
and
well in case you guys want to watch it, since there's a high chance you haven't seen it yet. There it is.
yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a positive addition, and it was just nice to be like, yeah, you know, we miss having that social connection around this time of the year. Let's try to, you know, just still chat and have something cozy, and acknowledge it's been a rough year, and we're trying to make things more accessible by having the convention free to watch, and also making your day-to-day interactions feel less toxic as well. So yeah, overall, you know, pretty happy with that.
Yep.
So
I think that's it on all the
yeah.
different dates and things. That was quite a few dates. I hope you guys had your calendars out while we were going through them. If not, too bad. No, if not, I'll give you a quick rundown. We have the expansion out. Expansion November 23rd. Nighttime November 24th for people in EU. We have the pre-patch event on November 10th. We have the raid coming out on retail on December 8th. We have Nax coming out on classic on December 3rd. And then BlizzCon line in February 2021, which will also be free. So if you've never been able to get a virtual ticket or go to BlizzCon itself, then this is a great time for you to experience the online version of BlizzCon for the first time for free.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, also you pointed out on your Twitter that the Shadowlands release date is the same as the vanilla release date. So that's kind of like fun symmetry. I think they did that with Wrath and Warlords as well. So
that's cool. I didn't realize that one. Yeah, no, it was pointed out to me and I was like, hey, that's cool. I need to note that down. I'll quickly show you guys the screenshot of it. Because when I saw it put together like that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. Let's see, let me just quickly save this. Here we go. And drag it out here. Okay. There we go. So November 23rd, 2004 for Classic or Vanilla. And then November 23rd, 2020 for Shadowlands. Exactly 16 years apart.
Yeah, so that's what's new with dates. Obviously, you know, a lot of people wish the dates were different, but you know, just be nice to the actual employees who are working on the game, as they're the ones that are probably working overtime on this, and they did not have any say when it came out, and they probably feel really bad that if you can't rebook vacation time, you know, like it's don't be mean to Blizzard employees as a result of this.
A lot of times employees don't even know until like very late.
Yeah.
Like they work on things blindly a lot of times.
So yeah. So let's talk about some Shadowlands updates that have been happening on the beta. They're still happening. One of them was we got a story trailer with the new release date, and it had some like little teasers of cinematics we'll be seeing as we level through Shadowlands, and some like interesting new scenes with like the jailer and Sylvanas. So why don't we just play it, because it's only a minute, and then we can discuss.
Yeah, it's a short trailer, so it's definitely worth just watching on the stream. So let's jump into it.
Nothing is fair. Not life, not death. But through the jailer, control of our fate will at last be possible.
Pitiful mortal. There is nowhere to hide. Death comes for you all.
Our duty is grim.
Is this the best you can do?
Many have been lost.
Remember this lesson. You know what must be done.
We're going to tear it all down.
The light is with me, even here.
Nothing escapes the law.
Yeah, there it was. story trailer. I have to say, by the way, the Winter Queen looks amazing.
Yeah, I love her model. She looks awesome.
The model looks so cool, and especially in that animated version too.
Yeah. So the scene that stood out to me, there was a few, but the Nathanos with his arrows, and then seeing Tyrande looking angry. I'm really looking forward to seeing her hopefully win against Nathanos.
Yeah, I feel like we missed a lot of Tyranda's story parts of things in BFA. And not that we missed it, but she was just... There was a lack of Tyrande. And there's a lot of people who might not be a huge fan of her, but I think it's going to be really interesting considering what happened to Teldrassil and everything with that backstory. I think it's going to be interesting to see how she's going to act here. And because she has a lot of emotions and everything right now.
Yeah. Another scene, snippets were that we saw some things with Anduin, and at first he's mourning by Varian's tomb, which we already saw in the Shadowlands announcement trailer. But then it seems that he has some sort of face-off with the jailer where he's captured, and he's saying that he's trusting in the light. And we know we've data mined something encrypted related to Anduin and the jailer, so it could be some interesting, tension there. So that seemed cool. And while we've data mined Sylvanas' new appearance for a really long time, I believe this is the first time that her updated appearance has been revealed for casual players. She's explaining her motivations for following the jailer and a chance to control her fate. And then we see her face with the new like Maw-themed armor and the bright red eyes, and she's not in her war chief armor anymore. So like keep in mind that when we saw the Shadowlands trailer at BlizzCon, she was still in her like war chief appearance. And then there were like little hints here and there that she changed and the concept art, but this is the first time we're really seeing her with her new look. And it's like, do you believe her? Is this a good thing? She's saying that the jailer is cool, but we're seeing the jailer, attack everyone. And, even with Nathanos, it's like, well, if Nathanos is helping the jailer and he's an asshole, like, maybe this guy isn't so good for everyone.
Yeah, and does Sylvanas know? Because that's another part of it too. Maybe she thinks that this is a chance for her to control her fate, but then it's not. Like, maybe she's getting played in this too.
Yeah, it's like when we saw the Bastion cinematic with, Uther, and we saw how his soul was split and how his wound, like, didn't heal properly, and the magic from the Maw was infused in it. It just makes you wonder if the jailer is playing, like, 4D chess with her, or if, like, the Maw was manipulating her for a while. But yeah, a lot was really packed into this 1 minute long cinematic, and all those little clips make it seem like we're gonna see, at least 5 more of them when Shadowlands actually launches. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of mini stories, a lot of different characters, and it was a cool
the
trailer.
Winter Queen.
Yeah,
it sounded like we're gonna get like a Bastion cinematic, a Maldraxxus, Ardenweald, etc.
Indeed.
So, that was cool. And we still have cosmetic updates. Nothing for the Nightborn yet. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
But,
the Horde don't need anything.
So there was an interesting bug where NPCs had purple eyes, and the High Elves ended up with purple eyes, and that was a bug. And when Blizzard fixed it, they're like, the purple eyes look cool. What if we gave them to players as a nice bonus? So now the Void Elves and Blood Elves have these purple eyes that look, hey, kind of reminiscent of the Nightborn purple glow.
Yep. That's actually quite funny. So it was a mistake, basically, but because it looked good, they decided to keep it in the game for players. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was nice. And it also shows, I think, how something like eye color seems relatively easy to add. So hopefully this means that they can keep doing little tweaks throughout the expansion if they find more things to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, happy little accidents.
Yeah.
It's like Bob Ross was here. This was all planned. Happy little accidents.
So, for the next one, we have a very special character that has been found after 16 years in the Barrens. Olgra has finally been found after her death to the Quillboar, and she is in Maldraxxus, killing the equivalent of Shadowlands Quillboars.
Yeah. That's actually so funny.
Yeah. And yeah, it's, I'm glad she seems to
She's
be
getting her
doing
revenge.
well, as opposed to just being like a nameless character.
Mm-hmm.
And Blizzard had some fun with her because her title is Vengeance of the Vanquished, and that was an April Fool's joke announced by Blizzard at 2014, and she was a character in that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm glad that
fun little
she
thing.
is there. It's nice when Blizzard can do stuff that is playful, but it's also perfectly within the canon, of the game. And I'm sure she is on people's minds, with WoW Classic and all the memes coming from that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually a really good timing for all of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we move on from the beta, and we talk about WoW's 16th anniversary, which is currently being celebrated in-game as well. As usual, as per tradition, we do have a special buff to reputation and experience, which goes up by 1% every single year. Now it's the 16th anniversary, which means that your buff will be a 16% increase in reputation and experience. I remember the first time that I discovered that, I was like, oh my god, Blizzard, that's so clever. So every time I'm like so happy to be like, yeah, did you know the 16% means 16 years? So yeah, that's what's going on. On a side note, speaking of reputation bonuses, the 100% reputation bonus is gone.
I know, your poor Uldum paragon.
I'm still doing my Uldum dailies daily. Yep. I'm trying to min-max on all of them. I got my last 10% reputation buff from Hallow's End. I logged out immediately to keep it as for as long as possible. But yeah, I lost my 100% reputation bonus, so I'm quite sad. That means I'll get half the number of attempts now until Shadowlands is properly released. But yeah, 16th anniversary. What else do we have which is new?
We have a cloak, the Crafted Cloak of War, which is interesting because it looks like the Heart of Azeroth, and we data mined it, encrypted and hidden in late 2018, which means that, or was it 20? Anyway, we data mined it over a year ago.
I remember us talking about it.
Yeah. We're like, oh, there's a cloak. Well, I wonder if it does something. Look, it looks like the Heart of Azeroth globe. And they just added it in now, and you wonder why it was delayed. Was it an oversight? Did they think it was a nice end to BFA? There's only a blue version, so it's definitely meant to resemble the Heart of Azeroth. It's not like Alliance Blue Horde Red. This can be transmogged year-round, so it's not holiday-specific cloak. And that is something new, but it's also good that there are old things returning, because the Alterac Valley of Old achievement is returning, and you can get the Stormpike Battle Ram and Frostwolf Snarler if you do not already have those mounts. Something I also thought was interesting about the reputation was originally when Shadowlands release came out, players looked at the calendar and they realized that the event was scheduled from the 16th to the 30th, and they're like, oh, experience and reputation bonus in Shadowlands, yeah, Shadowlands rep. And then Blizzard was like, oh no, we don't want that, and they moved the event to be the 1st to the 22nd, so there's no Shadowlands overlap.
Makes sense. It would be kind of weird if we suddenly just have an experience buff at the beginning of the expansion.
Yeah. So, there's that. And then, as usual, you can kill the green dragons at level 30 and above for loot. You can earn time warp badges every day and spend them on really cute things like the corgi pet, or the rhinestone sunglasses. Lots of different things. And sadly, the Korax Revenge AV, it's not as OP for leveling as it was last year. So rip that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's
it's
not
nice
as
that
OP.
the event is back.
It's not as OP in XP, but do you know if it's still OP in Honor?
I don't think. Let me check the post. I don't think this was something we were highlighting because everyone was like,
Yeah, most
level,
people only
level,
cared about the
level.
XP. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, we don't have anything on that. Sorry.
Okay.
But apparently the queues were taking a long time, and it was also kind
Oh.
of buggy when the event went live. So I'm not sure a lot of people know about this, and it seems like maybe it's just difficult to run.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And to join up for this BG, you do not have to have a pre-made already. You can just sign up alone.
Yeah. So one thing that is not returning is the special time walking boss raid that rewarded the Deathwing mount at the end. But that makes sense because that's a special 15th anniversary thing. Maybe they'll bring it back for 20 years.
Oh, the reason why this was a question about queuing up, apparently there might be some bug going on. So yeah, if you've experienced a bug, it seems like there's a lot of people experiencing it too, so you're not alone.
Yeah. So one thing that people thought might be coming, which isn't, which is interesting, was that we data mined a Doomwalker world boss, and it really sounded like it was a related to this anniversary event. Because it says, "Did you see that giant mechanical monstrosity just walking around in the dunes outside? He comes from a place out of time and not even here on Azeroth. The time ways sure are screwy around this time of year." Chromie takes out a small, rapidly whirring stopwatch and tinkers with it. "She seems to have momentarily forgotten about you. Oh, you're still here. That's great. Would you mind taking out that thing? Otherwise, people might have trouble getting to the party." And Doomwalker is obviously based on the Black Temple world boss, and he fits the criteria for the quest. Doomwalker has come knockin', spawns in Caverns of Time, where the anniversary celebration is, but he didn't make it onto live servers, and he's not in the official blog, which again ties back to, will this be added for the 17th anniversary as a, yay, TBC Classic is out, and we're gonna have like a, Burning Crusade
event.
throwback boss. And going back to encrypted things that take, years to show up, like the cloak we just talked about, several months ago, we data mined an encrypted battle pet that was called the icon Dragon Whelp Outland 2 Light, which sounds like that could also be a Burning Crusade thing because of the word Outland, and also how the Burning Crusade Collector's Edition pet reward was the Netherwhelp. So maybe this is something they will sell for Time Warp. Not the actual collector's pet, but like a similar pet they could sell for Time Warp badges, in 2021 if we have more Burning Crusade news by then.
I'm excited for TBC. I wonder how they'll do it. If you like copy your character, if you send your character, if the servers will just continue on and become TBC. It's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that's going to be the focus of the BlizzCon Live celebration. Because they can't announce a new expansion by then.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have a patch info. But I think that would be interesting to know about. But yeah, TLDR, log in, get your Time Warp badges, buy the new cloak, get your AV mounts if you missed it last year. I believe the new RAM, it uses the updated model, so it has a fancy mount special as well. All the new RAMs do cool things.
Yep. So make sure you go and pick those things up before it's gone.
Yeah. we also wanted to highlight some ex-Blizzard well revered employees that have moved on to other things, and we just thought that was interesting to highlight. The first was that Chris Metzen, the former VP of Story and Franchise, has come out of retirement, but not specifically to video games. He is doing tabletop gaming.
Yeah.
Alongside co-founder Mike Gilmartin, who was formerly the vice president of quality assurance at Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought this was interesting because everyone kind of assumed that, like Chris Metzen, was this, like he's like a badass, like totally cool, put together. But then a few years ago, he opened up how he retired due to like a lot of anxiety and toxicity in fandom and pressures about not letting a team down, and just needed to take a step back and have a better work-life balance, which I think a lot of big respect to, again, sounding like a human being as opposed to like I can do everything.
For sure.
And this is
the
a very
interview
small
was
company.
also
Go
nice
ahead.
to watch. It was just adding on to what you said in terms of like the sort of wholesomeness. It was also nice to watch this as they were like talking together and like they seemed to be having fun doing things together. But yeah, continue.
So like you said, they released this video and they talked about the company, and it very specifically seemed to be not trying to replicate Blizzard. Like, it's very small. This sort of came out of him hanging out with his friends, painting figurines, doing tabletop already. He says he's been doing that for 2018, and they just wanted to expand beyond their events into a fun tabletop gaming company, which is called War Chief Gaming. So kind of a cheeky nod to Thrall. And he kept just basically just kept saying, like, over and over in these interviews in the video, how he wants it to stay small. This is just about having like friends time in a club, talking with them for hours at a time, just enjoying yourself. And he likes creating worlds. It's not the delegating and managing a large corporate studio. He said that when he really liked working on at Blizzard, it was when he was working on multiple universes at the same time. Like, he was working on like Warcraft 3 and World of Warcraft simultaneously. And he felt very creative in charge. But then when you went from being a small company into a massive corporate one, like, you have different responsibilities and things you need to care about. And now focusing on his small company, it recaptures the essence of what he likes about being creative on a small scale. And he's talking about how he feels like recharged, and this is such a good fit. And I think it's really refreshing to hear something like that.
Oh yeah,
How, like, everyone assumes that he's so successful and he's good at everything. And I think that it's very healthy to have someone be like, yes, I did it all, but it was not good for me mentally. And I've identified what makes me happy, and I'm going to go, pursue that. I think that's really cool.
And I think the emphasis there on working on multiple games initially and then later probably not really being able to do the same thing, because as a company grows, you delegate the work to more people and other people, meaning that you may not be able to do as much as you'd like to. So it kind of makes sense to want that, want that feeling of power sounds negative, but a sense of being able to touch all the different areas.
Hands-on.
Yeah, to be more hands-on the different type of categories and areas of the company.
Yeah, he said, I was in love with the way that the jobs felt and the teams I was working with. Once World of Warcraft came out and got big, things changed. It was still awesome, and it's still awesome today. But we went from being this tight little development shop to being a service provider of this big giant game. That comes with its own rise and fall, its own new conditions and concerns. There is a purity to the smaller scale. Blizzard did exceptional work, but it was at a massive scale. It's hard to control and keep the train on the tracks. They're all excellent. It's just a lot of mind share. what I'm doing, this feels like it's so much more freeing and simplified the creative process.
Mm-hmm. Like with success, sometimes things become, more impersonal, and sometimes people, are not a big fan of that, so they strive for going smaller again.
Yeah,
It's
there's
a
always
very
a sense of
common
like,
thing that you see among a lot of
yeah,
people.
people are like, oh, bigger is better. Like, you work up from being the one designing things to the one managing things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, maybe that's not for everyone. Like, maybe you're happy always being the creator and you don't want to be the one overseeing. Maybe you'd value that connection, even if it's less like prestigious to do
Yeah.
something smaller scale.
Yeah, maybe you don't want to come into the room and delegate the work to the team that's sitting there. Maybe you want to be the team, and maybe you want that team to be everything and nothing above them.
Right.
There's definitely a lot of interesting ways that the human brain reacts to that. So you end up going full circle in a way. Like you start at the bottom and you think that you want more and bigger and ambition and all that stuff, but then when you reach the top, you kind of realize, hey, I had more fun down there. Let me go back down there instead. It happens a lot.
So, another creative employee at Blizzard announced he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Former lead narrative designer Dave Kosak, who was part of the WoW team for many years, since 2009. And then during Legion, he also worked with the Hearthstone team. And he's the guy that's been doing the like quirky, high energy Hearthstone announcement reveals, like the really fun mad scientist trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, he was at Blizzard forever. He also, I feel like newer players don't know him as well, but when Wowhead was starting off, he did a lot of interviews with Wowhead on like the lore and like the challenges of converting quests in Cataclysm, and a lot of the Mists of Pandaria story. He created the character of Rathian. He actually wrote that Edge of Night novella that people keep talking about 10 years later, about how Sylvanas met the jailer. So a lot of old school WoW people, hold him in high regard, even if he's doing more, Hearthstone videos than WoW interviews in recent years.
Mm-hmm.
And
And he was with Blizzard for
yeah.
12 years. It's always kind of like,
Yeah.
I can't help but feel sad when people leave.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, like, life happens, things happen. People move from one project to another, and sometimes it means that you leave a company. And yeah, now it's his turn.
Yeah, he's going to Deviation Games, which is founded by David Anthony, who was the former producer for Call of Duty, and Dave Kosak will serve as creative director. Again, another up and coming studio, so nothing to share yet, just working on upcoming secret projects. And yeah, I mean, you can tell he was obviously very creative, especially if he was like the guy that was, making sure like the WoW lore was mixed into the Hearthstone lore. Like we've commented how the new Hearthstone expansion is always tied into WoW very well. Like
Yeah.
recent things, not
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, Illidan. It's like, oh, like there's the Uldum Transmog, or the
Mm-hmm.
like cute Tortolin pet, or Old Gods Dark Moon Fair mashup. So yeah, I mean, we definitely wishing him the best of luck. And he was always very kind to Wowhead at BlizzCons. I remember even after he was doing Hearthstone presentations, he would still make time to meet up with me and others on the team. But yeah, just like, very down to earth, cool guy. I think he was the first Blizzard dev I actually interviewed. So, that, yeah, just hope everything works out well.
Mm-hmm.
And this next bit of Blizzard staff news is an article we haven't published yet because we've had so much other news coming up.
Yep.
But it's all drafted. Diablo 4's lead systems designer David Kim has swapped to the World of Warcraft team as the principal game designer, and this was spotted on his LinkedIn account and shared on Reddit.
Oh,
and he worked
detective
on this,
work here.
Yeah, he worked on Diablo 4 for nearly 4 years, and then previously he was on StarCraft 2 and Heroes of the Storm. And yeah, a lot of people are, wondering what this means. Before all this, he was regarded as a very competitive StarCraft player, and at one point, he was one of the top random players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are wondering, with the Shadowlands delays, specifically at the end game, did they bring someone like David Kim in to specialize at the high, for high end gameplay systems? Is that his specialty? Will this help keep Shadowlands development on track now? To avoid future delays and keep covenants and soulbinds and conduits and anima all untangled. Um, so far, people seem to have viewed him. He was well respected. I believe with Diablo development, people seem to like how he explained things at BlizzCon interviews. So maybe this will also mean we get more like WoW systems interviews as well. Here's hoping.
Yeah. I think it's a really interesting change from Diablo 4 to WoW.
Yeah, a lot of Diablo players have weighed in, and what's interesting to note is that when you look at StarCraft and his time spent there, the win rates were considered fairly well balanced. So you have to wonder if he'll be doing anything with balance with WoW, which has long had a history of balance perception problems, as opposed to his past game that had, like very good balance perceptions. So
potentially some input into balancing like damage and things and
Yeah.
abilities among the different classes. Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it seems like this is someone that's well regarded as, both a player and a developer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Diablo community is viewing this positively because his replacement was someone that was already working on the game. They didn't hire an outsider, so that people think that's like a positive thing to do, like hiring someone that already is familiar with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, people are also speculating, maybe the groundwork for Diablo 4 systems is strong enough to where he can now, help World of Warcraft, and other people on Diablo can, finish carrying out his vision.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see what is up with that, but
Yeah.
definitely interesting. And if this helps the Shadowlands endgame stay on track and be more cohesive and better communication, I think that's a win for World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm. And we did have some crazy corruptions and things that needed balancing towards the end of BFA,
Yeah.
so maybe this will be the answer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for the final portion of the show, we have some new merchandise to talk about, which also then ties into a secret battle pet.
Oh yeah,
So
the purple Murloc that was mentioned in the chat as well. Apparently the secret
Yeah.
was just solved.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get a picture up.
Yeah. We can discuss that first if you want to.
Yeah, let's go for it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So because there was a Funko Pop that was a Murloc that was purple, Blizzard made a surprise Murloc battle pet to spawn at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And it looks really cool. I really like the purple shade.
I know, it has its cute little purple eyes.
Yeah. A bit creepy, but cute.
Yeah. And basically, you kind of go all over, aquatic zones, starting by Grizzly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
And, you get this cute little guy called Glimmer's Cracked Egg, and he is a purple Murloc, and yeah.
Yeah.
He looks cute.
So you guys can go ahead and get it already, right?
Yeah, you can get that. We have a step-by-step guide up on Wowhead, where you do a bunch of stuff. You go to Borean Tundra, where the Murlocs are, to help them out. It's good to have an aquatic mount because this is difficult to get. Yeah. So
yeah. And then non in-game things. So outside of game things, we also have some merch to highlight. we have a new cookbook. Not sure if you guys are aware, but World of Warcraft has had a cookbook for a while now. I think mine should be here somewhere.
Yeah, I've got mine somewhere. It's actually interesting when the developer when the author did yeah.
When the developer did
When the author did a panel at BlizzCon, she talked about how she used Wowhead to do the recipes because Wowhead did a breakdown of all the items, and then like she could see, you know, like who dropped the item to get like it's like, oh, if an angry crab drops this special ingredient, how can I translate the personality of the ingredient into an actual recipe?
Yeah. So my mirror is, not my mirror. My camera's mirrored, so it might look a bit odd, but this is the cookbook, World of Warcraft cookbook, and it's basically got a bunch of recipes from in-game, made in real life. And yeah, we have a new cookbook now on the way. Do we have a name for it?
It is called New Flavors of Azeroth, the official cookbook. It has a work in progress cover not final, but it seems to be featuring a lot of maybe more casual finger food compared to the first book, because I see some donuts, what looks like maybe fries, some sort of chicken on a skewer, and small green things in a bowl. Sorry, I'm not good with food. Maybe a vegetable, but it all looks like finger food. So yeah, casual
things you
snacks.
can nash on. Yeah. I like it.
Which,
I need to up my kitchen game, so this is gonna be great for me.
Yeah, I feel like the Hearthstone book highlighted more like casual tavern food, and that was popular. So maybe Blizzard is trying to do things for beginner chefs. Maybe it's good timing with, you know, quarantine, how there are people that are just starting off that are not going to cook, you know, a Pilgrim's Bounty feast, but they're going to, you know, make donuts for themselves.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that they talk about Nomi. They say, in this cookbook, Pandaren chef Nomi has collected the best recipes gathered during his travels and will instruct you in everything you need to know as you feast your way through Azeroth. As a young boy in Pandaria, Nomi answered the beckoning call of a cooking school bell and quickly grew into a promising chef. Each chapter features easy-to-follow dishes as well as numerous tips on how not to burn your food.
Yeah, Nomi has sure
he was
learned.
He was promising in Pandaria, but then he started burning everything in Legion to the point where he became a meme. And when they did PTR stress testing, they did so by summoning a billion Nomis that were summoning fire everywhere.
Yep.
So that
that's a fun little detail. I like it.
And that cookbook is not out until 2021, but you can pre-order it now on Amazon. And then finally, for the big merch drop we wanted to highlight, earlier today at 7 a.m., Blizzard dropped a lot of merchandise as part of a celebration called Blizzard Year Fest, which in retrospect sounds like they had a bunch of merch for BlizzCon, and they realized, you know, there was no BlizzCon, so they wanted to do something with the merch.
Yep.
And there are usual assortment of BlizzCon themed items like, you know, Funko Pops, puzzles, like new statues, new mouse pads, new pins. And as we mentioned, there are the Funko Pops for Illidan, Sylvanas, and a Murloc. The Illidan and Sylvanas ones look a bit more metallic than the ones you could already get. So it's a little sad they don't have new characters, but the paint job is different if you're a collector. And the Murloc is a brand new color than the past Funko Pops. And as we mentioned, it's tied to the Battle Pet that you can now get in Grizzly Hills.
Yep.
So These will only be available at the Blizzard Gear Shop. You can't pick these up in like Walmart or Target. You have to get them from the Blizzard Gear Shop. Other things they have for sale, which we know Wowhead players like, are
Pin
new
collectors.
Yes, Sass bought many of these this morning.
7 in the
as
morning.
usual. Yep. They always do a series of pins every BlizzCon. They are on year 7 now, and you can buy blind packs that have colored versions of the pins and a small chance at gold. You can buy a collector's edition pin set, which is a full group of just the colored pins. And to complicate things, you can now buy what is called a platinum pin series, which is a third color. So you can collect 3 colors. You can get all the platinum in the special group, all the color in a special group. But if you want the gold pins, you have to open up all these blind packs, and it's a very small chance you'll get them.
Ooh.
So
IRL
pins,
collecting. Fighting
yeah.
against RNGesus.
The pins, not many of them are WoW related, but we do have Thrall, and what's interesting is that he's got his like hybrid like vanilla WoW BFA vibe going on. Like he's holding Doomhammer, but the other axe, he's got the harness from BFA on, but the classic shoulders. So it's interesting that that look is now more canon, even though it never actually appeared in WoW. It just like is taking all of Thrall's greatest hits and fusing them together, which I find funny. And we have Lyra Sanguinar, who is primarily known in Hearthstone, but she was sort of showing up as a neutral spy on both sides in BFA. And then we have Illidan, but it's in his Hearthstone form because Illidan was they did an Ashes of Outland expansion and Demon Hunter hero. So WoW face, but in Hearthstone, going back to what we were saying about how Dave Kosak was working on always updating like the WoW lore in Hearthstone.
Yep.
There are also, as usual, pins that have more limited quantities. Like, I really like this. I love the Hearthstone Collector's Edition pin set because it's 4 card backs, and they're all so cute. Like, they've got lemonade and stuff, and the box is cute too.
The box looks amazing, actually.
And there's only 2,000 of this pin set. Then, as mentioned, the Platinum pin set, there's only 500 of them, and it's pricey. It's $200. The Collector's Edition pin set, 1,000 of them, and it's, I mentioned, the 10 colored pins, as well as a cool Murloc gold pin. There is a Diablo 4 collector's pin, only 2,500 of them. And then there is an Overwatch 2 collector's edition pin, 2,500 of those. So we know there are a lot of pin collectors out there. It's interesting because normally at BlizzCon, you go and you buy the pins, and then you trade them with others. You bring your collection, then you trade them for ones you were missing. But this year, obviously you can't trade in person, so I wonder if people are going to like stock up on extras, or if they're going to, I don't know, hope to trade these at a future BlizzCon.
Yeah, that's a good point. To fight the sort of random aspect of it, people did used to, there used to be special areas, right? Dedicated for just pin trading.
Like a while back, do I have it easily in reach? Not sure. When they did pin season 3, they did pins of me and Panzer, a former Wowhead Weekly host, and you could only get the pin if you participated in pin trading. So like you would bring 2 pins you didn't want to us, and then we would give you one of our pins, and we were right next to the pin tables. Yeah. So it's always been a big part of BlizzCon. And it's a little sad we're missing it this year, but according to Sass, who was like super hardcore pin collector, like all the collectors groups are really hype about this. They're sharing all the info, so the enthusiasm hasn't dimmed. I just wonder how the online trading is going to work. I assume a lot of Facebook groups and Discords will be doing a lot of swaps in these upcoming weeks when they get their blind packs in.
Or
I
maybe they
really-
wait for next BlizzCon.
Yeah. Who's your favorite one? Like, besides the Hearthstone ones, I really like the Lilith pin. I think the silhouette is really cool, and there's a lot of detail. I think the wings make a nice color contrast.
Oh, the one with the pack with the golden Murloc?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one does look really cool.
Like
I
she's holding Diablo's head or something.
Yeah.
She just looks really cool.
It does. It's funny that you said except for the Hearthstone thing because that one is such a clear winner.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If it didn't have the 30, I feel like it could pass as like more of a standard WoW pin, but obviously the 30 is, you know, the Hearthstone health.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. I can't pick a favorite. I like the Valera one.
Yeah, I think like she's a like a neat dynamic pose as well.
Yeah,
I think
she's
the
in a
ones that work
specific.
the best or is when they're kind of in motion. She sort of reminds me of
Exactly.
the Tracer one from a few years back, and like, you know, Tracer is so iconic because she's got kind of like a similar, like, you know,
Yeah,
leg
she's
out
always
as
in
weapon being thrown
movement.
too. Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly show the pin set that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
There we go. So Valera is there in the top right, and Lilith is there in the top middle.
Yeah.
Also,
And
I have a
Thrall
special liking
with
for
identity
green with red.
Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously, you know, you have the red hair.
And there's two colors that match so well together.
Yeah. And while we don't usually cover other games, there's other products as well. Notably, there is a Mercy Funko, and it's called Diamond Edition. And if you see the preview, you may not notice it, but if you zoom in, you'll notice that all of her armor is encrusted in glitter. So while it looks like the original Funko, it's a lot more sparkly. And I know a lot of people maybe had the original version of these Funkos at the office, but if you know, are in quarantine and you can't go to the office, maybe you want like a variation for your home office, and you can get these Funko Pops.
It's actually so pretty. There it is. Want to show you guys?
Yeah.
It's very pretty, very glamorous dress.
Yeah. And then, yeah, as usual, we've covered already how last week there was a wave of more Shadowlands products, including the Thrall premium statue, which makes us sad because we're like, was there meant to be a big Thrall at BlizzCon? You know, like they always do the big version of the statue.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Jaina, BFA Jaina, she had her statue. So, yeah, so we're going to get Thrall, collector's edition pin, Boulevard art canvas, you know, the usual fun stuff. I just hope they do more. They have a Bastion desk mat, and I hope they do desk mats for the other covenants.
I'm definitely
I want my
expecting a
covenant
big
choice.
Thrall.
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be cool with his weapons as well. He also weighs 40 pounds, the small version.
Yeah.
Like, wow, like that's a heavy statue.
Yep, that is a heavy statue indeed.
And yeah, of course, also there's going to be more merchandise on the way. The apparel is dropping on the 16th, so we will highlight more things for you then. And if you use the links in the Wowhead article to buy things, a small percentage of the sales go back to Wowhead that then gets reinvested in site development. And we really appreciate people that use the links. We've actually use the money to upgrade some dev software and other things as a result of the profits we've gotten from this. So sharing the Wowhead links, buying through Wowhead, supporting the site is always really appreciated.
Yep.
Also, this was not in the notes, but it also came up during this morning, speaking of books and stuff. Something that's not on sale at the Blizzard Gear Shop, but you can buy Amazon, is the kind of art lore compendium exploring Azeroth Eastern Kingdoms, and it features Shaw and Flynn going on various adventures documenting things. And a lot of people wondered how, we saw in Shadows Rising that it was like very it was assumed that they got together at the end, but it was very unclear how we went from Shaw being a spy master to taking a road trip around Azeroth. And today, Blizzard published a short story called Terror by Torchlight that explains why they decided to go on this trip after having a surprise encounter in Duskwood and using some old artifacts to be successful at this spooky occurrence. So it's a cool story. You can check it out. And the book, it said it was coming on November 24th on Amazon, that it got delayed, but the Blue Post says November 5th. So I don't know, but anyway,
Another
it's a cool
thing soon.
Yeah, it's coming soon. The book has a really cool like gold and blue cover. Each page is kind of written from the style of like someone taking notes in a diary with sketches on the side.
Oh,
so another book that you can get, as mentioned, this book and the cookbook you can buy on Amazon, not the gear store. And yeah, you can get lots of books stocking up for the holidays right now.
Nice. Yeah, lots of things to do over the holidays now. Gotta play the games, read the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually crazy how packed it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But then we can't complain that there's no content.
Nope, it's everything it's like they've scheduled everything to drop today. There's even raid testing coming back again, November
really?
6th. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
Lots
Crazy
of stuff
month.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, well, I think that's about it.
Oh
right?
yeah, Day of the Dead is here as well. If you
True.
got that's also coming. Trying to see where Brightpaw is if he wants to say goodbye.
Wait, isn't it already over actually? Isn't Day of the Dead just one day?
It's actually 3 days. 1 second. I'm getting Brightpaw.
Okay. Yes, Day of the Dead is there. I double checked my collections and I still needed 2 things from the vendor, which were transmogs. So if you are a collector, you may want to go ahead and check out the vendor in Stormwind to make sure that you have all the collectibles. Because once the event is over, you have to wait a whole year. So yeah, actually, yeah, I think so. We'll wait till next event at least.
We are back with Brightpaw.
Brightpaw is back. Hello.
I feel like he definitely was sitting at the desk for the first part of the show, but he wasn't interfering as much because I've kept my old desk chair and he really likes sitting on it and watching me. So he's probably like, oh, she has her own chair. I don't need to fight her for this other chair now when she sits in it.
Yeah, that's actually so funny. I sometimes find my my cat Maya sitting on this chair, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not streaming then. I'll wait and see and check again in an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, a few questions in the chat. I did say so. Day of the Dead has a vendor that you can buy things from, which is only available during the event. And I said that the vendor is in Stormwind, and that's true if you're an Alliance player. So if you're a Horde player, I believe it must be in Orgrimmar.
Yeah, and I think that for every race you can do something by your city's graveyards, and Dalaran has NPCs as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, so worth to check out the vendor in case you're missing anything.
Yes.
Yep.
So.
And that's it from us today.
Yes.
It's a big day of dates for November and December. And now it's just time to recap on all the dates in our calendars and get ready for a very busy month.
I like how now that we're not talking about dates, Brightpaw is like perfectly calm and sleepy, but as soon as you mention the date, he'll be like, I don't like this date. Cat with claws, scratchy scratch.
I like how he's facing the cat on your shirt too.
Yeah,
it's like opposite.
He likes this. Yes.
Yeah.
He's such a good boy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see you guys again next week. Same time. So that would be like November 2nd, +7, so November 9th. None of the dates that we mentioned now would have been covered by then, but we would be really, really close to the invasion starting. And
Invasions will start the day after the next show.
And maybe there'll be some other news. Probably be some other news since we do have a very packed month.
Yes,
there will
today's been any indication.
probably be quite a few things to talk about for next show between now and then. If you tuned in late to the show, or if you're tuning in on YouTube right now, this show is streamed on Twitch on Wowhead's official page every Monday, and a few hours after the show is over, we tend to upload it onto YouTube so that you guys can either go back into the show to see what was said, or just watch it even from fresh on YouTube itself in case you weren't able to watch it. And we do this show weekly to cover all the news. So if you're very busy with family, school, work, then you got the show to catch up with everything that's going on.
Yeah. And yeah, just thank you for all the support. After the release date was announced, we've seen so many people returning and looking up stuff on Wowhead, especially when the anniversary hit on Sunday. I think it was our highest traffic of the year so far, so that's been really awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, thanks so much for all the support, both using the site, using our merch links, telling your friends that are returning to WoW that, Wowhead can help them out and not feel lost.
Yep.
We really appreciate it. Brightpaw appreciates it because it keeps me happy, and then I have more time to play with him. So
because Wowhead also has those. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm saying that's why he didn't. Oh, look at him! I'm mentioning the release date, and he's like attacking me.
He's like, "Don't talk about the release."
He's like, "I want Mom to have time to play with me. I don't want her to work on Thanksgiving. That's my time."
Yep.
So.
I wanted to say that Wowhead also has these guides that are specific to people who stopped playing at a certain expansion, because for every person, there might be very specific changes, right? If you quit during Cataclysm, the game is going to be different compared to if you quit during MOP, perhaps. So those kind of guides do exist as well. If you have a friend or yourself who haven't played for a few expansions, you can search up those guides to pick the specific expansion that you remember last, which is quite handy. I actually like that those guides exist.
Thank you. We've been prioritizing updating them, so Classic is totally updated. We've been trying to make sure all the others are totally updated for Shadowlands.
Yep. And there you go. It's also linked by our mod here, Vegas. Thank you for that. That's it from us, guys. Thank you very much for supporting all the subs, resubs, and don't forget to follow the channel if you don't want to miss another show. And we'll be back next week.
Yep. I can do the hand thing with the other
high
hand.
five. Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing. He's just like little.
I can barely see him. It's so dark. Okay.
Yeah.
You can count.
3, 2, 1.
I was a bit far, but yeah, we got it. Yeah. Very safe, very social distance safe games to play at home.
Yes.
On cameras. Bye, guys. See you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Brightpaw, don't kill me. Bye.
Little Brightpaw.
He just dug his paw into my leg. Ow, Brightpaw.
Bye.